Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Sorry, I have my top on. Roast. Oh, let's get her in there. There she is. Beautiful flag. Anyways, there's been many a time when I've pointed out the hypocrisy, or what seems like hypocrisy, by the mainstream media. And of course, this is done for a reason, right? This is an attack on all of humanity's cognitive awareness, the mixed messages. And it's a constant thing, right? Which is the media again. Once again, they took their name from the goddess media, the goddess of illusion. That's the whole point of them, to sell illusion to us, to confuse us, right? That's the whole point of them. So there was this right up here by the Irish Examiner, Mick, this fella here, Mick Clifford, says, "Why are we allowing hate speech to thrive?" Okay, um, government parties are scared witless to the intolerant right that would portray them as woke if they were to pursue enacting a law to prevent minorities being targeted by hate. Okay, so I don't really think the government care what you call them at this stage. Like, they're just like the media. They can do and write and say what they want and not care about the ramifications about what they're saying or what words they're using. They just don't care because, like I said, they're at a point now where their whole job is to basically drive you insane. That's what they want to do, because then the more people that react and do actually go insane, do really stupid things, and then they can be sort of held up on this pedestal as seen as like, see, we told you all these people were nuts. We need to do something about it. You know, that's what they're going to do with people that let the insanity creep into them and do something stupid. This is their whole goal. This is the whole reason for being existing at this stage. That's what I think. And anyway, so Mick continues here and he goes, well, the little part under here says online hate speech fueled the Dublin riots. So we're going back again to 2 years ago, reliving old memories, bringing up old memories again to associate why he's writing this article. The spread of hatred these days is directed at asylum seekers and the people from diverse ethnic backgrounds. Now, he continues to go into like all the gender based stuff as well. But it's all about, you know, this. We'll take the gender thing, for instance, right? The LGBT stuff. You know, the government knew that they had a nice card that they could play with that because it goes against common sense. It goes against everything that we knew. It's like the flat Earth and the globe, right? For hundreds, thousands of years before NASA went up and did all that stuff, everyone thought it was flat. So it was a given. It was known, right? It was only when NASA went up that it changed everyone's opinion on that matter. Only when NASA went up and started showing a globe and showing these images that they admit that they enhance and edit and everything, and showing a globe, that everyone just, their belief system just shifted away. It was like, oh, well, it's obvious now it's not flat because here we have images from NASA showing us. So with the gender thing, that's what they did as well. They said, oh, there's not only two genders now, there's 76 or whatever. They switch around. See, another confusion tactic. They bring that up and then they start out by saying, oh, there's actually 75. I heard a woman the other day in US Congress saying actually there's 42. So there's no real definite definite answer. It's just about keeping you confused. The whole thing, that everything I look at is just about keeping us confused. So that's why I do question everything that they're telling us about history. You have to question it, you know, because it's all leading to this point. Everything that they've done beforehand is leading to this point where we are now in the present. Anyways, Mick Clifford continues here. He goes, should we be free to say whatever we want, to voice our deepest fears or resentments? Keyword he's using there, resentments, because he wants to make as many negative, to bring as many negative things into this conversation. as if to give them an excuse to talk the way they do about it. It's because it's only so many negative things in it. That's why we have the ability to talk about it, or why we want to talk about it. Should I say why he wants to talk about it, and the government and the media? Should we have the right to cause offence if we believe such offence is entirely warranted? Right? Now, what I see with most of the people out there that are going to the marches and everything, it's the government that they have an issue with. Yes, there are people, and they might be labelled as, the eco nationalists, the ones that just want uh, Ireland and they want it just white, per se, right? There are those people out there. I'm not one of those people. I'm a nationalist. I want Ireland for the Irish, of course. I'm not that way inclined. Um, but also at the same time, I would be open to people coming in, but they have to assimilate, and they have to not want to change anything about the way Ireland operates. But of course, that's where the message gets mixed up. That must mean you just want Ireland replaced. No, that's naive to think like that. Don't you think? Uh, I've love for all humans, right? But if I see mass migration on the scale that I'm seeing, I'm going to call it out, especially with the individuals that are coming in. That that when they get caught doing something, they have you even see it. They even admit that they have so many previous convictions and all this stuff, and it's like, what the fuck? Like, what are we doing? What are we doing then? You know. Anyway, right now, the government and much more of the body politic appear to be going along with the notion that there should be precious little restrictions on the right to abuse or denigrate minorities. Most of them are not doing so out of conviction, but out of fear. Another key thing that he's trying to leech in here is people's fear. It's the fear of the unknown type of thing. No, I actually know that the Irish government are bringing in unvetted mass migration of unvetted males to cause chaos, so then they can turn around like they did, like England just announced the other day, where they turn around and they say, okay, in order to get on top of this, we need to introduce digital ID. And that's where this path is taking us in Ireland. It's going to lead to the government coming out and saying, okay, we hear people's concerns now, 5 years later. Um, how we counteract this is we want what'll stop it will be digital ID or tagging or something down them lines. I think the test one was the Great Rupin Cough of 2020. That was a drive as well to get everyone towards people walking around with papers and they didn't even cop it. Papers to go and eat in a restaurant. It didn't compute in their head what was actually going on. And I think why they're still doubling up on it is they're not content with how many went along with it in the first place. So now this is another attempt to push it even more and getting even more people on a digital sort of ID spectrum, whatever you want to call it. Where was I? At issue is a matter that any thoughtful politician knows has an impact. Let me read that again. At issue is a matter that any thoughtful politician knows has an impact on society. Now, I do question sometimes these articles, how they're written and stuff like that, or how they're wrote. It's like, do they not proof them, or a lot of people say they get their ideas, they just type in what they want into ChatGPT and it gives them a whole headline and they just go with that. They don't even proof it. Which I should have done with this one before I started this video, but anyway. But in the prevailing atmosphere is considered more trouble than it is worth. And if such coincidence impacts negatively on individuals, well, that's really awful. But the attitude appears to be that those individuals will just have to suck it up. Ireland has been threatened with legal action by the EU for failing to implement proper hate speech laws. The current law in the country, the Incitement to Hatred Act, dates back to 1989. It was enacted before the internet became central to life and at a time when the country was fairly banjaxed. Fairly banjaxed. Look at the words he's using, banjaxed. He's trying to come across as just an ordinary, Irish guy, using the banjacks the words. You're not like us at all, Mick. You're selling out the bleeding country. Before it took off, the bourgeoisie, this fella, before it took off and attracted people from all around the world to service the economy, there have been successful prosecutors under the Act in the last 35 years. This suggests either we are living in a utopia of peace, love, and understanding, or else the law is an ass. Hmm? The law is an ass. And they will, the media will attack the government and attack law, police enforcement, Garda, whatever. They will attack them. But then, literally, in a follow up article, they will praise them and, you know, shower them as if they're, they're the golden child or something like that. That's the more mixed messages. Just a constant flow of mixed messages from them. New legislation was drafted, and last year, and new legislation was drafted, and last year, and began. A bit too many ands in there. This guy never got to English class. Its passage through the Oireachtas, it was flawed in a few respects. One section in particular would have made it a crime to be in possession of material that could, if disseminated, lead to incitement to hatred. That was, by any standards, overkill and attracted criticism from both left and right. The other issue that arose was the protected categories of people against whom it would be illegal to incite hatred. One of these involved gender. Wasn't that long before he mentioned it, was it? The whole area of gender dysphoria is contested and has been at the centre of the culture wars both here and abroad in recent years. Again, there would have been a way to frame that with little political will. Now, I can tell you what I think about that is the whole gender based thing is another thing that they introduced. You know, something happened in 2019 that we're not aware of. Like something happened in the political system in 2019, hence why everything that you've seen happen since then is all about the mixed messages, the confusion, causing everything. All of these things that keep the people fighting amongst themselves, while all these people in their ivory towers are perfectly fine. Behind their gated communities, they've got guarded security. Nothing's ever going to happen to them when it comes to these males coming in. Nothing. So something happened to cause them to put all this stuff on us. That's what has me thinking. Like that's the way I'm thinking now at this stage. Thereafter, with the body politic shook at the reaction of referendums that nearly all parties had supported, the reaction was to run away from anything else that might be interpreted as woke. Such an attitude, while politically understandable, is a complete degradation of the most fundamental duties in a liberal democracy. Hate speech laws are necessary as recognised as most developed countries. Nefarious elements thrive on spreading hate about minorities. Some elements make money out of this, particularly online. Well, I mean, that's the whole point. That's what the media do. The media are making money constantly with people buying newspapers or subscribing. Most of their stories online now are hidden behind paywalls. So if they come up with a really good crunching headline that they know people will want to read, they stick it behind a paywall. Then they know people want to read it and want to go a little bit deeper into it. That's none of this go and doing your own research type of thing. They want to provide everything for you and make you pay for it. Whereas I'll use now on my channel. I know it's my outlook on everything, but I'll never charge you for anything, right? Everything's free. I've always told people you can take videos off my YouTube or my Twitter and use them wherever you want to do with them. Because obviously don't come don't want you to use it to come and attack me. Or if you do, at least have me on and have a chat with me, fair is fair, type of thing. But anyway, look, this Mick Clifford. So if you click on their name, it shows you other headlines that they've written in the past, right? So there's the one we just read there, right? Now, here's one that he did on the 29th of June. Mick Clifford, make Ireland great again. Marchers want to turn back the clock, but to what and at what cost? As anti-immigrant protests roll louder, we must ask: do we really want to return to a darker past? A darker past. I mean, pretty much it's as dark as it can be now at the moment. I don't remember when I was growing up, these foreign males going around stabbing children and harassing women. Like that was we did. It's naive to think that Ireland didn't have its own type of individuals like that, but not on the scale that we see now. Like that, like that's naive not believing that. Do you know? But I never like I'm 41, and I never remember hearing so many stories. Yeah, you might say, well, we have the internet now and Twitter and stuff like that, but it's who these attacks are at by the hand, who's committing the attacks, should I say? You know, it's completely shifted. It's like those videos where when they catch these lads or women wanting to meet up with underage children, right? Now, back about 10, 15 years ago, it used to be, say, you see videos of England and Ireland and Scotland and Wales and stuff, and it was predominantly white, like 90 to 95% of them were white individuals. Now it's completely flipped. Now it's like 90% foreign nationals that are getting caught trying to meet up with these people, with these people, with the children, with the underage children. So that's flipped on its head as well. There is one here that he said that is with the contradiction, right? So, is it this one? So, in one hand, with the article that we just read through, right, you can see that he's kind of promoting political will. He's promoting the political system, that they know what's best for us. But sure, here he is now. Look, Shane O'Farrell case shows the state still protects itself, not its people. You see that? The confliction. These stories are written by the same bloke. So he's purposely putting out the mixed messages, the conflicting stories. Keep people in their, well, is it a case that one week they're good and then the following week they're bad? No, they're doing it on purpose, people. It's the part of the cognitive warfare that is being unleashed on humanity. Get as many mixed messages out there. Keep people not being able to come to their own conclusion, stop and think and take a step back and look at the bigger picture of things. They don't want you doing that. So they're just going to flood you as much as possible. Now, you might say, well, aren't you doing that with this video? No, I'm highlighting it to show you what these fuckers do. This is the way they operate, Remember, they took their name from the goddess of illusion. They're selling an illusion of what is really a good few of these stories that they even print mightn't even exist, mightn't even be happening in the real world. They still print them. Because they want to confuse you. So yeah, there's that article there on the why are we allowing hate speech to thrive? Even though in the article he says Ireland's had the current law in the country, the Incitement to Hatred Act dates back to 1989. So there's another confusion, another mixed messages, huh, Mick? Yeah, clown. Anyway, leave that one with you.